Continuing on with our review for the factoring quiz. We're told that 3x is one of the factors of 3x squared minus 9x. We need to know what the other factor is. So if we're going to factor out a 3x, that's the same thing as taking this original binomial, 3x squared minus 9x, and dividing by the factor, which is 3x. If you divide the entire product by one of the factors, you will find the other factor. So we're going to have to first take 3x squared and divide by 3x, and then we're going to have to bring down the negative 9x and also divide that by the factor, which was 3x. 3 divided by 3 is going to cancel to be a 1. X squared divided by x is x. Bring down the minus sign. 9 divided by 3 is 3. The x's cancel out. The other factor must be x minus 3, therefore. In question 7, this is going to involve trinomial factoring. We're going to have to figure out two numbers that add to be a positive 7, but also multiply to be a positive 6. The best thing to do is to first look at how you multiply to be a positive 6. 1 times 6 would get you there, also 6 times 1, 2 times 3, 3 times 2. Those are the factors of 6, and now you have to look at which of those pairs is also going to add to be a positive 7. These are the only options that would work. Therefore, we're going to use positive 1 and positive 6, which means that we're going to have x plus 1 and x plus 6. A way of checking your answer would be to go ahead and FOIL this out. X times x is x squared. X times 6 is positive 6x. And are you going to get a positive 1x? Last, you're going to get a positive 6. Combine the middle terms, and you'll have x squared plus 7x plus 6, which was our original trinomial. Therefore, we have chosen the right factors. Choice 1. Question 8. In question 8, we have to determine two integers that are going to add to be the middle term, which is a positive 5. But they also have to multiply to be the last term, which is a negative 24. First, we're going to make a list of numbers that will help us to multiply to be negative 24. 1 times negative 24 would work. Negative 1 times positive 24 would work. 2 times negative 12. Negative 2 times positive 12. 3 times the negative 8. Negative 3 times the positive 8. 6 times negative 4. Or negative 6 times positive 4. And you want to get a whole list of all the different factors that would multiply to be that last term, which in this case is a negative 24. And we also have to consider how the pair of numbers that we're going to choose also has to add to be the middle term. I'm going to use another color to demonstrate that. So now we need to think about which of these pairs of numbers is going to help us to add to be that blue middle term, which is a 5. These are not going to add to be a 5. These aren't, these aren't, these aren't. 3 minus 8 is a negative 5, so that's not going to work. Negative 3 plus 8 is a 5, which is the same as 8 minus 3. So this is the pair that we're going to go for, and these are not going to work. The pair of integers that we want to use are negative 3 and 8, meaning that we need to put x as the variable first, and then put minus 3, and put x as the variable first, and then put the positive 8. Making choice 3 one of the factors. Since it's right here, it's one of the factors. And again, a way of checking our answer is to multiply this out, double distribute it, or FOIL it out, and you would work back to that original product. is found up here, if you were to FOIL it out. In this question, we're asked to find the factors of x squared minus 10x minus 24. In this case, we want our two integers to add to be a negative 10, and also multiply to negative 24. First step is to figure out all the different ways of having a product of negative 24. And we already looked at them, so I'm going to redo that for you. 1 times negative 24 would work. Negative 1 times positive 24 would work. 2 times negative 12 would work. Negative 2 times a positive 12 would work. 3 times a negative 8 would work. So would negative 3 times a positive 8. 4 times negative 6 would work. Negative 4 times positive 6 would work. And also remembering how our other consideration is that the numbers have to add to be a negative 10. These would not help to do that. These would not help to do that. These would not. These would not. Let's take a look at our other options here. The reason why I left the 2 and the 12 is because 12 minus 2 is 10. However, in this case, we have 2 and a negative 12. 2 minus 12 would be a negative 10, so that's a good option. The next one would not work because it's negative 2 and a positive 12. If you take negative 2 and add on 12, it would be a positive 10, and we want it to add to be a negative 10. If you take a look at these bottom, so that option's out. If you take a look at these bottom options, I left them in because we know that 4 plus 6 is 10. However, in this case, our pairs are 4 and negative 6, which would add to be a negative 2, and negative 4 plus 6, which would add to be a positive 2. The pair of numbers that we want to use, the pair of integers that we want to use is positive 2 and negative 12. And this is going to be x plus 2 and x minus 12. Choice B. In our last example from yesterday's classwork, we have to find a factor of n squared plus 3n minus 54. So we need to figure out numbers that add to be that middle term. They add to be a positive 3, but also multiply to the last term, which is a negative 54. First step would be to consider all options of factors that multiply to be a negative 54. Negative 54 times 1, positive 54 times negative 1. You also could have negative 2 times 27, or positive 2 times negative 27. Another option is 9 times 6, which would be a negative 9 times a negative, a negative 9 times a positive 6 to be a negative 54, or a positive 9 times a negative 6 to be a negative 54. Consider now which of those is going to help you to add to be a positive 3. These pairs are not going to help, and neither are these. So we're down to negative 9 and positive 6, or a positive 9 and negative 6. Negative 9 plus 6 would be a negative 3, which is out because we want it to be a positive 3 sum. And 9 plus a negative 6 is the same as 9 minus 6, which is 3, positive 3. So therefore the pair that we're looking for is n plus 9 and n minus 6.